Imagine your life is a perfect puzzle. You've found your soulmate, planned the wedding, built a future together, and then, with just one phone call, it all shatters. What are you doing? Come back to bed, baby. A stranger's voice in your conversation with her. What would you do? Trust her? Investigate? Or hire a private detective to uncover the truth? Get ready, because this story will shake you to the core. Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you stopped by my channel. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, as every like truly inspires me. Please tell me which city and country you watched this video from. Now, let's get started. Melissa and I had been together for 4 years, engaged for 1, and our wedding was just a few months away. She embodied everything I had ever wished for: brilliant, breathtaking, and full of an infectious energy that made life feel more vivid. Her laughter had a way of wrapping around me, making me feel like I was the center of her universe. Ours was more than just love. It was a true partnership. We had built a life together, purchased a charming home in a peaceful neighborhood, and laid down the foundation for our future. We even shared dreams of starting a family one day. I never doubted that what we had was unbreakable, that her devotion to me was as deep as mine was to her. Then came the Miami trip. Melissa had planned a getaway with her 2 closest friends, Camilla and Rachel, a simple girls' retreat, a final carefree adventure before settling into the responsibilities of marriage and family. There was no reason for concern. I trusted her implicitly. The night before she left, we lay side by side, her fingers absent-mindedly running through my hair. "I'm going to miss you," she murmured, pressing a soft kiss against my cheek. I grinned. "You better," I teased. "Just don't have too much fun without me." She chuckled, that familiar warm sound I adored. "It's just Miami, Jeremy, not some wild bachelorette party." I laughed along, believing her completely. The next morning, I drove her to the airport, kissed her goodbye, and reminded her to text when she landed. And she did. At first, everything seemed normal. That Thursday evening, she sent me a picture of their extravagant seafood dinner: oysters, lobster, champagne, the kind of indulgence she loved. A short video followed, showing the breathtaking ocean view from their hotel balcony, Miami's skyline shimmering in the night. "Wish you were here. You'd love this place," she wrote. We spoke briefly before she went to bed. She sounded happy, relaxed. Nothing seemed amiss. "Miss you already," she whispered before hanging up. "Miss you too, babe," I replied, feeling content. She even sent her usual goodnight text, something she never skipped when we were apart. But by Friday, things changed. That morning, I sent her a quick message. "Morning, babe. How's Miami?" No reply. At first, I dismissed it. Maybe she was sleeping in. But as the hours passed and my phone remained silent, a subtle unease crept in. Melissa wasn't the type to leave messages unanswered for long. She was always quick to respond, even if it was just a short text. Finally, a little after 1 in the afternoon, she finally replied. "Sorry, babe. Just been super busy. Love you." That was all. No details, no playful emojis, just a short, impersonal message. I stared at the screen, frowning. Busy? Doing what? I tried to shake the feeling that something was off. Maybe they were just caught up sightseeing, shopping, enjoying their time. But something about that text didn't sit right. That night, I decided to call her. No answer. 15 minutes later, I tried again. Straight to voicemail. A tight knot formed in my chest. Melissa always answered no matter what. If she couldn't talk, she'd at least text me back. Something was wrong. I checked her last online status. She had been active just 10 minutes earlier. She was on her phone, just not talking to me. I called once more. straight to voicemail. I exhaled sharply, setting my phone down. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe she was just caught up in the moment with her friends. But deep inside, something gnawed at me, a quiet instinct whispering that something wasn't right. The next morning, she finally called. Her voice was bright, too bright. "Hey, babe," she greeted me with a forced enthusiasm. "Sorry I missed your calls last night. We went out and it got super late." I sat up in bed, rubbing a hand over my face. Her tone was smooth, too polished. Still, I kept my voice neutral. "Oh yeah? Where'd you go?" "Just a bar Camilla wanted to check out," she answered quickly. "Then we grabbed tacos by the beach. So good." She was speaking too fast, adding details I hadn't asked for, filling the silence with unnecessary words. It sounded rehearsed. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust that everything was fine. But something in her voice made my stomach twist uncomfortably. "Sounds fun. Wish I was there," I said carefully, waiting for her reaction. "I know," she cooed. "I miss you." A brief pause stretched between us, just long enough that I thought the conversation was ending. And then I heard it. A deep, groggy male voice close to her. Too close. "What are you doing? Come back to bed, baby." The call disconnected, and just like that, my world fell apart. I remained frozen in place, the phone still pressed against my ear, every muscle in my body locked with tension. My heartbeat pounded so fiercely that it seemed to reverberate inside my skull. Had I really just heard that? My mind scrambled, grasping at any plausible explanation that could make sense of this. Maybe it was just background noise from a television, or perhaps some drunken prankster. Maybe one of her friends had invited their boyfriend to the hotel. I ran through every conceivable excuse, desperately clinging to any reality that wasn't the one I instinctively knew to be true. But no, there was no mistaking that voice. It was intimate, possessive. He wasn't just nearby, he was with her, in bed. And in that moment, every unanswered call, every delayed text, every flimsy excuse, every subtle shift in her tone suddenly made sense. A wave of nausea rolled over me. My first instinct was to hurl my phone across the room, to shout, to break something, anything to externalize the storm raging inside me. But I didn't. Instead, I sat motionless, my hands clenched into fists, staring at the screen as if willing it to change reality. Melissa wasn't on a simple weekend trip with her friends. She was with another man. I couldn't let myself spiral into endless speculation. That voice, those words, replayed in my head like a taunt. "Come back to bed, baby." It wasn't an offhanded remark. It was something I was never meant to hear. I needed proof. Irrefutable, undeniable proof. I wasn't about to confront her and allow her the opportunity to twist the truth, to gaslight me into believing I was imagining things. That same day, I made a decision. I hired a private investigator. His name was Tyrone, an older guy, former law enforcement. He came highly recommended by a mutual acquaintance. I laid out the situation, transferred the payment immediately. "Find her. Get photos. I need evidence." His reply was short and professional. "Understood. I'll be in Miami tonight." I ended the call and exhaled sharply, my grip tightening around my phone. This was real. I had just hired someone to track my own fiancée. The thought made me sick, but there was no turning back. By the next afternoon, my phone vibrated. Tyrone. My pulse spiked as I grabbed it, answering immediately. I found her. There was something in his tone, a quiet sympathy. My chest constricted, my grip tightening. Then came the words that would change everything. "She's not just with her friends, Jeremy. She's with another man." The words struck like a hammer to my gut. My throat went dry. I forced myself to respond. "What did you see?" Tyrone sighed, as if reluctant to be the bearer of this truth. They're holding hands, hugging, kissing. I took pictures, sending them now. A moment later, my phone vibrated again. I hesitated before looking, as if some part of me still clung to the hope that this was all a misunderstanding, that I was wrong, that there was an explanation. I tapped the first image. There she was, Melissa, my Melissa, seated at an outdoor cafe, laughing, leaning into another man. Her hand rested on his arm in a way that made it clear this wasn't just friendship. My stomach twisted violently. Maybe it wasn't what it seemed. Maybe it was an innocent moment taken out of context. But then I swiped to the next image, her lips on his. Not a quick, accidental brush. Not a mistake. It was deep, intentional, familiar. The way their bodies pressed together, the way her fingers curled against his chest, the way his arms secured her waist. It was everything I needed to know. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't hesitation. This was deliberate. My breathing slowed, but not in a way that brought calm. It was controlled, too controlled. I kept scrolling. Another photo. Them walking along the beach, fingers intertwined, bodies close, perfectly synchronized, as if they had done it 100 times before. As if they were a couple. Something inside me cracked. There it was. Cold, irrefutable proof. The woman I had planned to build a life with hadn't just gone on a trip with her friends. She had orchestrated an affair, so openly, so recklessly, as if she had never expected me to find out. My fingers clenched around my phone until my knuckles turned white. My chest burned with a fire that refused to be extinguished. I wanted to remain rational, but there was no room for composure, only fury. She had no idea what was coming. I didn't call her, didn't ask for an explanation, didn't give her a chance to weave lies. The photos told the only story that mattered. There was nothing left to discuss, nothing left to salvage. So I acted. My first call was to the wedding venue. Cancel everything. There was a pause on the other end before the receptionist hesitantly asked if I wanted to reschedule. I didn't bother justifying my decision. There was no need. Then I contacted the caterers, the photographer, the florist. Every detail we had spent a year planning wiped away in minutes. But I wasn't finished. The next call was to a locksmith. How soon can you get here? My voice was steady, unshaken. Within the hour, he replied. Perfect. By the time he arrived, I had already begun collecting her things. I scoured every room, making sure to remove every trace of her, clothes, shoes, bags, anything that belonged to her. Methodically, I packed each item into boxes, determined to erase any sign that she had ever lived here. Once I was done, I printed out the photos Tyrone had sent me. One by one, I slipped them into a folder. Solid proof of her betrayal, undeniable evidence of the life she had chosen over ours. By nightfall, every remnant of her was sealed away. I stood there, letting the weight of it all sink in. She had made her decision. Now, I was making mine. She would never step foot in this house again. Melissa was expected back Tuesday evening, and I had ensured that everything was in place. Her belongings were neatly stacked in the front yard, like a delivery waiting to be picked up. But I wasn't just going to leave her things out and vanish. No, she needed to feel this. She needed to understand the consequences of what she had done. That's why I reached out to Dominic, an old friend, someone she had never met. I needed an outsider, a neutral face she wouldn't recognize, and Dominic fit the part perfectly. Before he arrived, I moved my car a few blocks away, making sure there was no sign that I was still home. Dominic pulled into the driveway in his own vehicle, adding to the illusion that this house no longer belonged to me. He stepped out, surveying the stacked boxes with mild curiosity. "You sure you want to go through with this?" he asked, arms crossed. No doubt about it, I replied. He nodded once. All right, let's do it. And so we waited. Right on time, a taxi rolled up in front of the house. From my hiding spot, I watched as Melissa stepped out, suitcase in hand, her face bright with expectation, oblivious to what was coming. But the moment she noticed the boxes and the unfamiliar car in the driveway, she stopped cold. Confusion flickered across her face, quickly giving way to panic. She hesitated, scanning the area as if waiting for me to appear. Then, with growing urgency, she hurried toward the front door, her heels clicking against the pavement. She reached for her key and tried the lock. Nothing. She tried again. Still locked. From my concealed vantage point, I watched as frustration gave way to desperation. She pounded on the door. "Jeremy, open up!" she called, her voice edged with fear. Instead, it was Dominic who calmly answered. Melissa recoiled, her face twisted in confusion. "Who the hell are you?" she demanded. Dominic smirked. "Funny, I was about to ask you the same thing. What are you doing at my house?" Her eyes widened in disbelief. "Your house? What are you talking about? Where's Jeremy?" Dominic shrugged. "The guy who used to live here? He sold it. I just bought the place yesterday." Melissa's mouth fell open, but no words came out. Her gaze darted between Dominic and the locked door, her mind scrambling for an explanation. "No. That's impossible." "This is my house," she insisted. "Where's Jeremy?" Dominic reached into his jacket and pulled out a folder. "He figured you might show up. He left this for you." He held it out to her. Her hands trembled as she accepted the folder, her breath coming in shallow gasps. She hesitated, then flipped it open. And there it was, photo after photo. Her at the cafe, leaning too close to another man, their hands brushing. A kiss. The two of them walking along the beach, fingers entwined, the unmistakable gestures of lovers. She gripped the edges of the photos as if trying to hold herself together. Her body swayed slightly, as though she had been struck. From my hiding place, I watched as the color drained from her face, her posture crumbling under the weight of what she was seeing. Her breath hitched as she shuffled through the images again, as if hoping they would somehow reveal a different story. They didn't, because the truth never changes. The folder slipped from her grasp, its contents scattering onto the pavement. She lifted trembling hands to her face, horror and guilt flooding her expression. Dominic remained silent, watching impassively. And then she turned and ran. She didn't pick up the photos. She didn't call out my name. She didn't try to explain. She just left. That night, my phone lit up with call after call. When I ignored them, the messages started flooding in. "Jeremy, please talk to me. I can explain. It's not what it looks like. Please, I love you. Just talk to me." I never replied. I didn't need to. She had made her choice, and now she had to live with it. By morning, I had packed up the last of my belongings and walked away. The house, once filled with memories, had become nothing more than an empty shell. A few weeks later, I sold it for real. No more Melissa, no more wedding, no more betrayal. And just like that, I was free. This story has come to an end. The pain of betrayal is a blow we don't choose, but the strength to rise from it is ours to decide. This story is a reminder that trust takes years to build, but only seconds to shatter. No one deserves lies, manipulation, or infidelity. If you ever face betrayal, don't search for excuses. Accept the truth, learn from it, and move forward. Sometimes loss isn't the end, it's freedom. Loyalty and respect are the foundation of love, and those who don't value them don't deserve you. Walk away with your head held high, because true love never betrays. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you liked this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you.